Hello, guys. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. My name is Yvette Wanzu, and welcome back to the Walking with Wanzu podcast. How are you? How have you been? How is your weekend? How is your week going? If you're watching or listening to this rather on a Monday, I hope you're well. I hope life has been kind to you. I hope even if you're going through a hard time, that you're giving yourself hope. You're remaining positive and trying to have just good vibes all around. I'm sending you a hug if you're going through a hard time. If you've recently had a couple of wins and you're feeling good and happy about yourself, I'm celebrating with you as well. I just want to say that I feel like we're a small little community of people who, in one way or another, understand each other, are rooting for each other, and we just try to create a space where we can express ourselves and not feel judged, and try to feel like we are understood in a way. I'm so happy to be back on here. I'm so excited. It's a little weird, to be honest, because I haven't recorded in such a long time and I have been meaning to. However, you know just how life happens. If you're not working, then you're doing something else, and it feels like you're just in a constant roller coaster of trying to tick off tasks out of your list, and before you know it, every day is just coming and going. But today, I just had to make time. I had to sit down and just say, you know what, let's talk, let's do something. And I'm so happy that you have taken your sweet and precious time to be able to come on here and listen to this podcast. As you know, and if you're a newbie here, I would love to tell you that Walking with Wanzu is a podcast about all things life. And the reason why I call it Walking with Wanzu is because I am Wanzu and I like to speak about things and on things from my own personal perspective. Sometimes I quote I reference certain things that have happened in my own personal life. Sometimes I talk about people that I know and who have impacted me greatly. And also, I just use this as a platform to be able to offload and share some of the most random thoughts and ideas that come to my head, because random they are, and many they also are. I hope you're well. I hope life has been kind to you. I hope things are going well for you. I really hope that we're not feeling that pressure. You know, there's like a pressure that comes usually when the year is almost coming to an end, and you're just like, what have I done? What have I done? The year is just going like that. And I feel like there's so much more to do. And now is when you're starting to look at all the what is it called, the new year's resolutions that you had, and you're thinking, should I push them into the new year, should I make new ones? And I'm just here to tell you, there is no pressure. You're exactly where you need to be, and just make the most of what you have and where you are. And if you feel like you could do a bit more or you could do better, then there's always room for improvement. So start now, because a single step to the right direction is always progress. Well, so shall we? I have to admit, guys, I was coming on here to speak about something totally different. But recent events just have me coming out here to pour my heart out about things that I feel like we have spoken about, but we will continue to speak about, because this is part of the human experience. So your girl went back on Tinder. I know, don't even say anything. I don't want to hear anyone saying anything. I went back on Tinder. Um I've really been yo-yoing between work and just being at home and being a mom. And I wanted a bit of, I wanted adventure. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted to start meeting new people. If you know me, you know that I'm a homebody, so I rarely go out. If you catch me leaving the house, it's because I have an errand to run. It's because I'm either going to church or I'm going to work, which is more often than not. So I decided, you know what, if I'm not going to be too outgoing, then I need to find a way to put myself out there. So I went in and I went on to I did a bit of research and tried to look for sites where they don't have premium jokers, because I'm not trying to be out here loading premium tiers. And I went on to Tinder, I went on to Bumble, but there was even another one. I remember, I don't know, it's called Connect or something that I went on to, but that one I deleted real quick because I just wasn't feeling the vibe. However, I did stick around Tinder and Bumble for a minute because I do know, I can't talk much about it, but gauging from the work I have done over a couple of years, I do know how to navigate my way around dating sites. So I am careful. I know what a scam may look like, a scammer. I know what a fraud may look like. I know when someone is just talking to you and all they want is sex or they just want other things. But one thing I like about Tinder, though, and I'll tell you this, is people are really becoming honest about what they're on there for. Some people will just be clear. They say they want friends with benefits. Others just want a one night stand. Others are into like BDSM. So that kind of honesty is something I really appreciate at my old age, because I don't have time to play games. I don't have time for people who think they want but they don't want. If you get what I'm saying. I feel like once your expectations, or what it is that you want is communicated on the onset, then it helps manage expectations, but it also helps each party in the relationship know how they are moving, right? So I went on there, put on a profile for a nice photo. I slapped it on there on my profile. I put like a short description. And because I was in Tinder like 3 weeks before, not on Tinder, sorry, on Bumble, and I deleted my profile. So my intro wasn't too hard to think about. I just wrote something like, I downloaded this app again. I hope the experience will be better. Blah blah blah. And then I was busy swiping, and I started meeting a number of people, and we were talking, and sometimes conversations don't flow, and that's okay. So when the conversation seemed a bit too strenuous, I was more than happy to unmatch. Some people unmatched me also, and that's fine. And then I went through it, and I met a number of other people, and I really liked some conversations. Like some people I could see, this is someone who I could be friends with for a hot minute, because I do honestly and sincerely believe that even if sometimes you meet someone with the intention of having a romantic relationship with them, if sometimes the vibe can be altered, right? And you just end up being really, really good friends. And that's also okay, because me, I'm here for good friendships. I'm here for good and constructive friendships. And I'm just here for like a really good, genuine human interaction. That's what more could we want from life? And that's something that I really value and I really cherish. So for some people, I could see that. Mm. Something that was so strange, and this is why I even feel like I'm making this video, is I noticed that I'm quite guarded, right? So if the conversation is leaning towards something that I'm not very comfortable talking about or doing, then I would, as I'm talking to the person, I would hint at it. And if they don't get it, then I was very quick to shut down. Like I just zone out of whatever it is that we were doing. And I noticed myself doing that with a lot of people. I also noticed that I get quite irate when I'm communicating with someone and their response is not as fast as I would like for them to be. I don't know, and we all have those people in our lives, whether it's your sibling or your parents or even your husband or your sister. Those people who just take a while to respond to messages. So you text them. I'm those people who text me at 5:08, and by 5:10 latest you have my response. Unless it requires a really long response, then I'll pause. I'll later tell you, like, can I get back to this later? Or I'll pause and just do the response and then tell you, can we continue this conversation later? However, some people don't feel that way, and that's okay, because everybody has their own way of communicating. I remember being, for those who I did end up talking with over a longer period of time, I remember that people who asked me some questions that really made me do some deep introspection, like think a lot about myself, what it is that I want, what it is that I personally need to address as a person, and what it is that I have to offer, because you get what you give. You can't just be out here having wild expectations from people and you are giving nothing in return. You just out here requesting people to cross highways for you when you can barely cross a sidewalk. So I feel like love should be it needs to be mutual, right? It just can't be take, or give. There's a form of balance that you need to have. And a number of things came up that I want to talk to you about, and I feel like you can relate. And as I talk about this, I don't want to sound biased. It's just that I can only talk about it from a female perspective, because I'm a girl, and that's all I know, right? And if I leave it from a different perspective, unless I get certain insights from the people I interacted with, then I'm more than happy to share that as well. Um, And so the first thing that we think about when we think online dating is the issue of safety, because nobody, I mean, the world is a crazy place and nobody's trying to meet a creep or a weirdo or I don't know, like people who kill people, or I don't know, like you could meet anyone because the world is this huge place with all these different kinds of people. And I remember talking to one of the guys that I ended up meeting, and he was telling me, sometimes even when you invite someone into your home, like girls don't feel safe having that kind of interactions. And I know a lot of sites also don't recommend that. It's always better to meet in a nice public setting. And he was telling me, you know what, sometimes I invite a girl into my own personal space, and they think they're scared because anything could happen if you go into someone's personal space and this is someone that you don't know. But I feel the exact same fear, because this is someone who could spike my drink and end up stealing things in my home. This is someone who could do really anything. It's just that as a man, because you're not more muscular and more stronger, you're perceived to be more dangerous than than your female counterpart. But at the end of the day, we all fear for our safety. And I feel like that was enlightening, but also comforting to me at the same time, because as a woman, and because of even recent events, I really feel unsafe when I'm moving around men. And so I am super, super and extra cautious. And so that made me know that sometimes some of the fears that we are nursing as women, as we navigate the dating field, and more so online dating, is the same fears that some men feel. The other thing that came up was I was talking to someone, and my friends tell me this a lot, and an ex of mine actually even told me this quite recently. They said that I as Wanzu have the ability to be able to make people open up, right, and tell me things that they ordinarily would not want to share. Like I have this ability of making someone feel like they're in a safe space and they can just offload and say things that they wouldn't ordinarily share with other people. That can be a good thing, but it can also be very scary for a man. And so this guy I was talking to pointed out that, you know what, Yvette, I like that our conversations are real, but I was talking to someone about you, and they also said that we could be trauma bonding. Those are the words that they used. And having a bit of background and really done a lot of research around trauma and wellness and all that, I didn't know that was not the correct word, and that's not how I would use to define that. However, the concern was that we seem to talk about very, very deep, detailed, and sometimes very sad details of our lives. And he was scared that that would be the basis of our connection, connecting over sad, traumatic experiences. However, that was not the case for me. I really like, if you know me, you know that I don't have time for fakeness. That's just me. And I really like connecting to and with people from a point of authenticity. So authenticity is very attractive to me. So if you come as your true, honest, and unfiltered self, the sooner we can get to that part. And don't get me wrong, I mean, try and make a good impression. Look good, act right, talk well, be courteous. But at the end of the day, love and relationships, at the end of the day, they reveal who you truly are. And so I wouldn't want to interact with someone and feel like they're masking who they truly are. So I tend to ask a lot of the times when I'm getting to know someone. I want to know, what do you feel are your best traits? What do you feel are your worst traits? What's the best thing that has ever happened to you? What's the worst? What are some of the things that you would love to change? What ended your previous relationship? And for some people, those questions can be a lot, right? And it can really feel like almost like a therapy session, especially if you're not those people who like to talk about gory details and stuff like that. But for me, it's really enlightening because now I know what I'm dealing with, right? And that's very important for me. So that was a concern, and I can see how sometimes when you're getting to know someone and all you can talk about is your traumas and your pain and your sadness and things that happen to you, I see how that connection can be built on a foundation that's not really good, and I can see how that can be a problem. Another thing, guys, that was very interesting for me was and I feel like I even need to take a deep breath for this one, is how we are so quick to cancel each other, right? And as I preach to the choir, I'm preaching to myself too. Because I've had instances where someone has made just one wrong move or done something that they even didn't think they did something wrong, and I went off, right? And so my way nowadays of going off is I just cancel you. Like I just stop talking to you, or I just don't entertain you as much. And I think a lot of us do that. And perhaps when you've dated for a while or when you've dealt with people long enough, sometimes your bandwidth for nonsense gets a bit small. And so, at the slightest inconvenience, you're tempted to just shift or just change lanes or just go and do something else or focus on someone else. And that's okay. Although I was talking to a friend about this and she brought it to my attention and she said, Wanzu, I've been watching you, and sometimes I feel like you could try and I'm not saying that you just go around entertaining disrespect and nonsense, but sometimes you could try and extend a bit more grace before you cancel someone. Mm, Try and seek clarity. Maybe if you feel like someone is being distant, or you feel like suddenly the vibe has changed, you might want to ask, hi, is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? Are you fine? And from there, from the response that you get, then you can move. You can make better decisions moving forward from a point of knowledge, other than just feeling like, this person is wasting my time, next. And that's something that we do a lot. That's something that I know I do a lot. And I know that I have messed up potential connections or things that should have ended so well if I had just took a bit more time, if I would have just extended a bit more grace. And this takes me back to something that I shared with someone that I was talking to. And I told them that one of the lessons that I'm learning is that love liberates, right? And I know it's crazy when I'm talking about online dating and dating strangers and just getting through the dating scene, and then I throw love in. But the truth is, sometimes when you're really attracted to someone, even you know that you're starting to fall for them in that way. But the thing about love is it liberates. It doesn't bind, it doesn't control, it doesn't insist on its own way. It grants being, it liberates. And I feel like my need sometimes to control the narrative, or my need for actualizing the scenarios that I have in my head, sometimes has led me to fall out with people that I necessarily would not have. And so, what am I saying? As I navigate the dating scene, I want to be lighter. I want to be free. I want to be agile. And I feel like that's something that a lot of us would need to do. And I know that's a lot to ask, especially if you have been in a situation where your heart has been broken, you've been disappointed, you've been lied to, you've been played. And so your antennas are just all the way up, and your walls are wide, and your boundaries are so high up, and you don't want, and you're really trying to protect your peace and your heart at all costs. But at the end of the day, you can never quite experience something fully if you don't let go and let live. And so this is me telling you, as I tell myself, I don't know how many of you are single and are listening to this podcast and are trying to put yourself out there. Let's extend some grace, but more so, let's try and be free. Don't be too rigid. Don't be too quick to cancel. Don't be too quick to assume. Just let things go. And when you feel like there's something that's troubling you, then ask. However, be very clear to draw the line when you feel like now it's just a joke, or you feel like the other person is not matching your intentions. Then that's also fine for you to walk away. Although I think that as as a dating scene as a whole, we could all try and extend each other a bit of grace. Something funny about love and being in a relationship that I also discovered is that love will, in a way, really unveil the real you. There's the you that people see. There's the you, the cute you, the so respectful and kind and just the together you. And then there's the unfiltered raw version of you. The one that sometimes is hurt, sometimes is disappointed, sometimes snaps. And a lot of the times our loved ones get to see that, because when you love someone and they love you back, then they're almost like a safe space for you. And when you're in a safe space, then you feel free to be able to reveal your true self. And that sometimes can be a lot. And I think that's one of the reasons that I personally stay single, because I tend to think to myself, if I unveil the real me, would you still be here? And the truth is, there's some people out there who would. You just need to find your flame, and you need to find your person. And that might take a while, or it might even take a couple of hours, or a few days, or a minute, or a month. It's just different for everyone. So as I end the podcast today, I would love for you to be able to interact with me. So let me know, why are you single? And if you are you dating? Are you actively searching? And if at all you're actively searching, what are some of the fears that you have? What are some of the fears that you're nursing? What are some of the things that you're navigating that you just feel, oh man, like I don't know if I want to be in a relationship because of this? I am more than happy to listen and to exchange notes with you. And so, having said all that, I just want to say that I am definitely from the school of thought of it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Love is a beautiful thing, and among the many list of things that you get to experience in your human experience, I hope you get to experience what it is like to love and to be loved in return with the same amount of intensity, honesty, openness, and courage, that you have chosen to share with your partner. I I am praying that you're well. I'm praying that you start the week with positive vibes. And I hope I will be back on here. This is not even hoping, I am saying that I will be back on here real soon. And I'm just sending you so much love and light and good vibes and hugs. I will see you on the next one. God bless. Bye bye.